Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting Camp Cretaceous video by Jeremy James Prutchick. After yet another successful season of Camp Cretaceous, there's so much to talk about, and now that my spoiler deadline has passed, I'm gonna get right to it. In the Season 3 finale, the campers have left Isla Nublar at last, as they set sail for Costa Rica on Mitch and Tiff's abandoned boat. While this part of the story may have come to a close, the ending is still open, because in the last shot of the season, we see the door of the boat and hear a noise coming from behind it. Something else is on that boat with the campers, but what could it be? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the mysterious stowaway on the boat at the end of Season 3. Please keep in mind that this is not a theory video, but rather just me exploring an idea. Let's get started. If you remember from Season 3, Darius suggested that, just like with certain frogs, the Scorpius rex could reproduce asexually. For those of you who don't know what that means, basically it means that something doesn't need a partner to produce more offspring. It can do it all on its own. So with that in mind, could this stowaway dinosaur be another Scorpius rex? I personally do not think so, and I'll tell you why. It has to do with storytelling. There's an important scene in Fallen Kingdom that sort of supports this idea, and that's the scene of the BBC News report near the beginning of the film. At first, BBC News was reporting on the volcanic activity on Isla Nublar. Afterwards, the broadcast then mentions the Jurassic World incident of 2015, referring to it as, quote, the disaster that shocked the world, end quote. The broadcast quickly reiterates that the Mizrahi Corporation has paid over $800 million in damages as a result of this incident. So as of that point in time in the story, the Jurassic World incident seems to be the last memory of dinosaurs that people had, since it's still fresh in some people's minds in one way or another. So what does all this have to do with this mysterious stowaway not being a Scorpius rex? Well, if it was a Scorpius rex on that boat, and it escaped and kept reproducing and growing as fast as it did in Camp Cretaceous, its numbers would rapidly and potentially spread across the entire Western Hemisphere. These super hybrid dinosaurs would cause tons of problems in ecosystems on a global scale, just like it did on Isla Nublar. Something like that would have definitely made headlines in 2018, instead of an incident that happened 3 years ago on a secluded island. From a storytelling standpoint, based on what we've seen in both Fallen Kingdom and Battle at Big Rock, it doesn't make sense for the stowaway to be a super hybrid dinosaur, especially now that the dinosaurs that escaped from Lockwood Manor are what's on people's minds right now. So for those reasons, I don't think the stowaway is another Scorpius rex. So what else could it be? In my opinion, I think that the stowaway dinosaur is a compy or two. 1 or 2 compies. I know it may not sound like much, but hear me out for a minute. There are 3 reasons why I think this is a very strong possibility. The first reason is because of the sound it makes. I'll play the clip of the end of Season 3. Now I'm going to play a bunch of different compy clips shown throughout Camp Cretaceous.
They love money.
In these clips, you can hear the compies make similar sounds to what we heard from the boat. The second reason is because of what I alluded to earlier, storytelling. If only a couple of compies escape to the mainland when the boat docks, they'd likely reproduce a lot slower than the Scorpius rex did, and because they're so small and a lot less dangerous than the Scorpius rex, people probably wouldn't even notice the compies at all. At least not enough for them to make headlines around the world. And think about this for a minute. Even though Maisie released the dinosaurs at the end of Fallen Kingdom, maybe the dinosaur breakout got a quiet head start with the stowaway dinosaur from Camp Cretaceous. Finally, the third reason why I think the stowaway is a compy is because it could be the creative team's way of going back to its original Jurassic Park roots. More specifically, the Jurassic Park novel by Michael Crichton. Because if you remember from the novel, there were multiple scenes of compies living on the mainland. One of these scenes was a very disturbing scene of compies killing a human baby in a local hospital. Our good friend Clayton Furidi talks about this scene in more detail on his channel. Another compy scene from the novel is of a little girl named Kathy Bowman, who was injured by compies while vacationing in Costa Rica. Sound familiar? You bet. The opening scene in the Lost World Jurassic Park is a direct adaptation of this scene. And finally, at the end of the Jurassic Park novel, after the disaster of Jurassic Park, there were more sightings of compies on the mainland, implying that some still managed to escape Isla Nublar. So the idea of compies escaping to the mainland in Camp Cretaceous is just another clever way to take events from the books that didn't make it into the movies and reintegrate them back into the main story, whether it be in a TV series or a movie. At the end of the day, there are all kinds of possibilities as to what's on that boat. Whatever it is, hopefully we'll find out soon, whether it's in a future season of Camp Cretaceous or even in the upcoming film Jurassic World Dominion. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. On that note, this has been another Camp Cretaceous video by Jeremy James Prutchick. What do you think snuck on board at the end of Season 3? Talk about it in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more Jurassic content, check out my channel. And if you want to keep seeing Jurassic content, subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.